Hey you all, most hi to fellow dressmakers. You're welcome to another interesting tutorial. My name is Confidence. In this video, I'll be showing you how to go about sewing this beautiful two-in-one blouse. It's pieces or panel as you can see it, and it's also a peplum blouse. So if you want to know how to go about the sewing, kindly watch this video to the very end. In the last video, I shared how to go about the drafting and the cutting of this style. So if you haven't seen that, kindly check it out because this would make more sense if you have seen that. Now, let's get right into it. From the last video, we cut out all of these pieces to make this gorgeous blouse. We have the flare part of the sleeve, and I also have the wording that will be going to the front part. That would be for the bustier part, right? Then I have the center front. I went ahead to cut out two pieces of that because they'll be joining, and then the lining too. I have paper stay on the fashion fabric and there is no interface on the lining. I have the side front, I have the center back, yeah, and I have the side back. This is the peplum. I went ahead to cut out the lining. It's just a 360-degree flare, and I also gummed the interface on both the fabric and then the lining, and this will be the other part of the sleeve. Okay, please do well to check the other video so that you understand what you are doing here. Then these are the strips that I'll be using for the cording, and of course this part is where the peplum will be going. Now let's go ahead and start sewing. So what I'm simply doing here is to trim off about 0.25 of this strip. I cut 1 inch on fold, that's 2 inches. So on fold is 1 inch. Now I have about 0.75, which is just what I need. Then I went ahead to gum hasty, cutting hasty on this, but I'll still be showing you how to go about the cording in case you want to do the cording proper. So you're going to get your cord. This is shambala, and it's just as good as you not using it if you want to do the cording proper. There is this other cord that embroidery people use. You can use that one just to give you that cording effect. But if you must use shambala, just go ahead and double it so that it will give you that cording effect. But I already interfaced the strips and it will do the job perfectly. But just in case you want to do your cording proper, like the right way, you're going to slide the cord into the strip that you cut out like this. You don't even have to worry about interfacing the strip if you want to do the cord, okay? So here I simply slide in the shambala into the strip, then I stitch it down just to hold it in place. Then I'm going to take one of these. This is the side front. I'm going to place the strip on it this way. Just make sure that the folded part is just in the same direction that mine is, okay? The open part should be going to where you'll be stitching or closing the bustier. Yeah, that's where you'll be doing the joining. The open part should be going towards that side. Then I'm going to stitch. You can see that I'm stitching with about 0.25. Later on, while joining the center front to the side, I will be joining with the same ½ inch I added as stitching allowance. So you're going to simply do it this way. Follow all the curve you have on this part. Just follow the curves and shape you have on the bodies, then we'll go ahead and join it to the center. Okay, now I'm done. Can you see? And I'm trying to like stretch it so that the shambala will balance well. The next thing I'm going to do now is to notch the under bust. You can also notch the waistline just to release the tension. Then I'll take the center this way. Make sure that the part that contains the shambala is on top. Okay, I will match up the under bust this way and pin it down. I'll pin it down, then I'm going to stitch. Now I'll just go ahead and stitch with the ½ inch I added as the stitching allowance to this blouse. As you sew, you arrange the cord, okay, just so it stays in place. You can see me doing that. I do not even need this shambala or this cord because the fabric I use crepe for these strips and it's thick enough, okay. And I even went ahead to interface it, so it's just perfect for what I want to use it for. But in case you want to do the cording proper, this is just the right way to do the cording. Can you see that? So I'm going to follow the curves and shape I have here. Like I said, make sure that the part that has the cording, like you stitch the strip on, it's on top, like it's the one on top this way, so that you can stretch it, so that after sewing you won't have those smile lines or wrinkles here and there on your bustier part. So I'll follow the same curve I have here and stitch it all the way to the top. Then I'll show you what I have. So this is what it looks like after joining. You can see the center front and this one that we just did. And it was at this point I realized I did not gum the wording before doing this part. So I'm simply going to loosen this joining that I just did, not the cording. I'll loosen it, gum the wording, then follow the same process to join it back. And after all of that, this is what it looks like. I've gone ahead to do both the front and then the back part, and you can see how cute it came out. Okay, can you see the panels, how spiral it came out, just like flare? This is what the inside looks like. I went ahead to give it a good press to have something as smooth and sleek like this. This is the back part, one side of the back, and I have the other part. Can you see what the inside is looking like? So I'm going to take one of the back now to show you how to go about the crinoline. I'll take it like this, then take the matching lining, that's the part that will be going to this side. Then I'll take my crinoline, which I already went ahead to tape down on the tip. This is 3 inches crinoline. You can decide to use 2 inches if you want. Then I'm going to turn it back to the fashion fabric. Then I'll go to my sewing machine and stitch about 3 inches gap from the center back or the side back, whichever part you want to start stitching from. Then I'll place my crinoline this way. I'll go ahead and stitch it all the way to the other end. Then after that, you will need your UHU gum and your hemming gum. Now we stitched on the fashion fabric, right? We stitched the crinoline on the fashion fabric. I'll turn it to the lining side. Then I'll take my glue. Just use any liquid glue that you can lay your hands on. Then I will apply it just a little, just to hold down the hemming gum, not to plaster it. Then I will place in the hemming gum on it this way. Okay, I have tons of tutorial about this on this channel, and I have like a particular tutorial where I shared how to go about this method. Please do well to check it out. So after doing that, I'm going to sprinkle some water this way, then get my iron. I don't have a steaming iron yet, so I'm using a charcoal iron. I'll sprinkle some water, then place the iron on it just for a few seconds. Then I'll shift the iron to the other side. What this basically means is that you have to steam so that the hemming gum will melt, right? Then I'll just go ahead, I sprinkle water, I place the iron on it for a few seconds. I'll go to the other side until I get to the other end. And after that, I'll go ahead and give it like iron it. This is pressing. I will iron it and even iron on the lining part. And by the time we are done, you will see that there is no traces of hemming gum anywhere. This is the method I use, and like I said, I have a detailed tutorial on how to go about it on this channel. So after doing all of that, you can see how neat it came out. Then you're going to simply arrange the pattern, just arrange it this way, and you will notice that there is excess lining on the shoulder slope, that's the shoulder side, the neckline, the side, and on the armhole part. You're simply going to trim it off. There's nothing to worry about. Okay, you trim it off so that by the time you're done stitching those parts, the lining won't be like excess on where it's not supposed to be. Now I'm going to now flip the lining over to the right side again, just like this. I'll hold it this way, then I'll go ahead and stitch on the center back on the side. Please do not turn the neckline yet. Okay, then I'm going to take this other lining, the second lining, and go ahead and join the bustier part. It's very simple. There's no dart on the back, so don't worry about the back part. Then for the flare, I'm simply going to repeat the same process I used to attach the crinoline on the panel part, just like this. I'm going to place it this way, then turn it to the right side. That is, make sure that the fashion fabric is facing me. I'll take my crinoline. Please do well to always tape down your crinoline so that it will not poke when you wear it. Okay, I'll repeat the same process I used to fix the crinoline to the other part that we just did. Now, after joining the other lining, I'm going to place it this way. This is the time where you turn the neckline So just go ahead and stitch it down with the other lining. That's the black lining we use. Then you're going to turn the neckline now with this lining. And do the same thing for the back to have something like this. I'm gonna head to iron it. Can you see that? Then I'll go ahead now and join the shoulders, right? Now, while stitching this, I left about half inch here. I'll show you what to do with that, but just go ahead and leave out a space because as you can see, we already turned the center back of the panel blouse. That's the panel part of this blouse. We already turned it out. So leave just half inch on this second lining. I'll show you what to do with it. Then I'll make sure I align the cording on both the front and back, align it properly. That's the essence of us making it equal while drafting, like making it the same, so that while joining the shoulder, we will try to align it, right? Then I'll just go ahead and join the shoulder for both sides to have something like this. Can you see the cording aligned properly? And that's what you should have. Okay, then I'm going to arrange it this way and trim off this excess on the shoulder just like this. I'll do the same thing for the other side. Then now we'll work on the sleeve so that we fix the sleeve. Now take all the pieces for the sleeve. This is the flare part. I will open this one up this way and place the lining on it on the right side just like this. Then I'm going to just turn it, and after turning, I will quickly give it a good press to have something like this. Can you see that? I would now go ahead and get the midpoint of this flare because we will need it. So I'll hold it the same way you see me doing it and notch on the center part, right? Then I'll measure it to make sure that it's my round sleeve if there is excess or if there is shortage and I have excess, which I would simply go ahead and pleat it while joining this part to it. But let's work on this. Okay, now I'll hold this one in place, like make it equal on both ends. Then what you are trying to do now is when you're cutting your sleeve, just this part that you curve that will be going to the armhole, you're trying to do that part here now so that when the person wears the sleeve, it will not drop on the armhole side. I hope that is clear enough. Okay, I'll trim off about 3.5 inches on this side. That's the open part, that part to be going to the armhole so that it will not drop. Then I'll take one this way. I already have the midpoint. Then I'm going to place that midpoint to the midpoint I already have on this other circle. And I'm going to gather it until I exhaust it, right? Then if this other flare is excess, you can just simply give it just tiny pleats like this so that it will be the same as your round sleeve. And after doing that, this is what it looks like. Can you see that? Now I'm going to take the lining and do the same thing, but this time I'll be doing it on the other flare, right? I'll just go ahead and pleat it just like we did for the other part. Remember, you're doing it on the flare, this other flare, and not the upper part of the sleeve, right? I'll go ahead and do it to have something like this. Can you see? Then without wasting much time, I'm going to hold it this way. Can you see that? Keep the other part away, then you're going to stitch it. Stitch the other side to have something as neat and cute like this. Can you see? That's the essence of us going through all this process, just to have it neat, just like this. Then what I'm simply going to do now is to go ahead and hold the lining and the fashion fabric just this way, then I'll stitch it all around. And after stitching, I'll trim off the excess lining, and of course the sleeve is set. And if you don't already have the midpoint, just go ahead and notch it now because you will need it. I already have mine there. I just highlighted it to make it obvious after trimming the lining off. Then I'm going to take the blouse back this way, arrange it properly. You see the line in the one with yellow fabric, the yellow Ankara. Just go ahead and keep it out. Just keep it out of place, like let it not be part of the main blouse, right? But if that will be hard for you, what you're simply going to do is to join the shoulder of the main blouse separately, then you join the shoulders of the interlining separately. I don't know if that makes sense. What I mean is you join this part the shoulder separately, then you join this other shoulder separately. Then after that, you go ahead and turn the neckline. That's if this my process would be hard for you, but I know that this will not be hard for me. I've done this before. So what I will do now is to go ahead and join it midpoint to the midpoint on the shoulder and on the sleeve. Pleat the excess to have something as cute as this. And what I'll simply do now is to go ahead and join the side with my measurement. It's very simple. Can you see? Again, do not join the main blouse with the interlining. That's the yellow ankara, right? Do not join it together. Join it separately. Then this is what it looks like after all of that. Can you see? I'm going ahead to join with my measurement, and I did the same thing for the yellow ankara. And now I will go ahead and get the midpoint of this part. I'll get the midpoint. Then I'll take the flare. Yeah, I'll take the flare and stitch it center to center. Then I made a mistake here, though when I get to the sewing machine, I corrected myself. This is supposed to be the lining of the peplum going to the right side of the fashion fabric. That's the right side of the yellow ankara. Then you go ahead and stitch it from one center to the other side and from the center to the other side. The excess you have on both sides, you go ahead and add tiny pleats like gathers, or you add bold pleats. But remember, we cut the peplum in a way that the radius is way more than the waist circumference. Then this part that I say you should leave out, what you're simply going to do is to fold it in this way. You're going to fold it in on the center back, and then you're going to stitch on it, like top stitch on it. That way you are stitching the peplum and then the panel together, and then you fix your zipper. Now this is where I corrected my mistake. When the owner fitted the blouse, it was way more than the length, like it was longer than the usual length. So what I did to correct the mistake was to loosen the flare part, and then on the circumference, that's the radius part, I marked 1.5, 1.5 inches down this way, just 1.5 from the waist, that's the waistline, right? 1.5 all the way to this other end. Then when I was done, I went ahead to stitch exactly on that line. I stitched on exactly on that line. Then after stitching, I simply cut off this other part. This way I'll have the length I should have. When she fitted this blouse, it was way too long that it should. Okay, so after cutting this off, I will also get the midpoint of this flare. Then the next thing I did was to also stitch about 0.75 on both sides. From the initial closing allowance I already have, I went in 0.75 for both on both sides, because I noticed that it was too loose on the waistline. Okay, the panel part of the blouse can be loose. Yeah, the waist part can be loose and it will still work, but this part that the peplum would be going to should be really fitted. In fact, if it's not fitted, it should actually be tight instead of being loose. Then I will also get the midpoint on this part. Then after that, I'll go ahead and stitch the flare the same way, the same process I used initially. I'll go ahead and stitch it, join it. Now the part we cut out on the flare will make the circumference or the radius wider than it was, so you have more pleats in case you do not want it to be bulky. I'm sharing this part so that you correct, like you do not make the same mistake I made. But in all, I like how the blouse came out. It really came out so well, and my mom loved it. That's the most important part. Another mistake I think I did was not using her actual half length. Her half length is 17, 16 and a half sometimes, but I used 17 and a half because I thought this fabric was going to shrink. This is more Ankara and it has happened to me before. But overall, I like the blouse. And this will be the end of our tutorial today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next one. Be good. Bye.